I really wanted to like The Many Saints of Newark. Hey, it's a prequel to The Sopranos, the best damn television show in the history of television. But it's not quite a prequel and not quite The Sopranos. Hey movie maniacs, I'm Dunmore, and Many Saints is not quite a prequel because the character that was the blood and bone of The Sopranos, Tony Soprano, played by the late, very great James Gandolfini, is not fleshed out enough as a young man to give us any connection to his overwhelming presence in that series. And not quite The Sopranos because, well, it's focused on Tony Soprano's mentor, Dickie Moltisanti, played by the excellent Alessandro Nivola, hence the title Many Saints. And even though The Sopranos creator David Chase is helming Many Saints as the writer and producer, it doesn't capture that grounded family life, black humor, and gritty humanity that The Sopranos exuded in every frame. Many Saints is the solo movie that no one needed and no Sopranos fans asked for. The funniest thing is, with the release of this movie, we realized that The Sopranos is so goddamn good that Many Saints can't even sully its legacy or ruin a legendary bad guy the way some prequels did.
I don't like sand.
So let's look at the Many Saints of Newark, top 5, bottom 5.
Top 5. Bottom 5.
It's not a series. David Chase created the greatest series on earth with one of the greatest layered characters in TV history. He can't possibly capture the origin of that multi-dimensional force of nature in a 2-hour movie about someone else. Yes, there's talk about a series now, but that's just bullshit speculation to get your eyes on the internet to sell ads. Chase should have followed in the footsteps of Better Call Saul, the stellar spin-off from Breaking Bad, and turned Tony Soprano's origin story into a series from the get-go. They could have fleshed out Dickie Moltisanti into the legend that we heard of constantly in The Sopranos, and they have Gandolfini's son to play Tony. What a coup for any TV producer. Michael Gandolfini's blood connection would have propelled the series, first as novelty and then as compelling drama, as Michael grew into the role. Alan Taylor, a veteran of The Sopranos and Game of Thrones, directs Many Saints, but he just has no time to show us how Tony breaks bad.
You're goddamn right.
4.
The Black Apology. In The Sopranos, we pretty much get the attitude of the Italian crime families toward
charcoal briquette, a moulignan.
So following so many prominent black characters in Many Saints, led by the powerful Leslie Odom Jr., takes us right out of the Sopranos universe immediately. The thing is, David Chase started writing this movie about the 1967 Newark riots, a real-world event sparked by cops beating a black man for a revoked license. This story never fucking changes, does it? Fucking America. It was an incident that intensified the animosity between African Americans and Italian Americans. Over the years, Chase's story morphed into a Sopranos story. I was just interested in the whole Newark riot thing. I started thinking about those events and organized crime, and I just got interested in mixing those two elements. Tony actually mentions the Newark riots in Season 4, Episode 7, when he's conspiring with Ron Zellman. Irregardless, when Many Saints turned into Tony's origin tale, keeping the race riot B-plot became distracting. I mean, the riots don't redound back to Tony. Leslie Odom deciding to start his own gang doesn't redound to Tony. Leslie Odom banging Dickie's mistress doesn't redound to Tony. Chase could have canned all those plot lines. Or maybe HBO liked how handy it was to check the diversity boxes with the heightened African-American presence and to simultaneously apologize for how blacks were treated in the original series.
Charcoal briquette, a moulignon.
Maybe they should have just called it The Many Saints of Newark.
3,
Ray Liotta. Looking as bloated and pockmarked as a Frankenstein's monster, Ray Liotta plays Dickie Moltisanti's father, Hollywood Dick, a caricature of a loud, abrasive, misogynistic goombah. After he starred in one of the big four gangster films, Goodfellas, you should know the other three. Who would have thought that having Ray Liotta in your gangster film would be a case of,
Now go home and get your f***ing shine box.
2,
Ray Liotta? One Ray Liotta dies, another Ray Liotta rises to take its place. Ray Liotta plays his own twin called Uncle Sally. They did this actor playing their own twin gag in The Sopranos with Philly and Patsy Parisi and Jeannie and Joni Cusimano. And it was jarring then, and with this famous actor, it's even more jarring.
Are they no more f***ing actors?
Playing it more stoic than Hollywood Dick, this Franken Liotta becomes Dickie's mentor and indirectly affects young Tony's mental breakdown. In any other production, this stunt casting would be fine, but think of all the Sopranos characters that could have been fleshed out in Uncle Sally's screen time. Like, this guy? In a movie sold as the prequel to Tony's embittered existence, every minute spent on Sally's irrelevant B-story is another minute lost in the Soprano goombah-verse.
1,
No disorder. So, the worst thing about the Many Saints of Newark is that we never identify any real social disorder in Anthony Soprano. Considering it was forcefully sold as his origin, young Anthony, played by William Ludwig, is just a side character, and teen Anthony, played by Michael Gandolfini, is not given enough screen time. We never see what transformed young Anthony into Tony. Yes, the ending scene gives Anthony some motivation, but only to seek revenge for his beloved mentor. It doesn't explain how and why he would eventually become the sociopathic kingpin of New Jersey. You see, simple revenge is something we can all relate to. A sense of justice is built into every human. But the most brutal truth we have to face about The Sopranos is that no matter how much we love these characters, they are sociopaths. Their mindset is not built into all of us. They have no moral compass. They are hypocrites and antisocial felons and psychopaths. That was the grisly beauty of The Sopranos, showing us how these psychos coexisted in normal society. Patsy nuzzling a gun at the nipples of Tony's ex, warning, "It won't be cinematic," and then doing the grocery shopping. Ralphie beating to death his stripper girlfriend, then having a drink with the boys. Christopher whacking the screenwriter simply for not sympathizing with his alienation, then going home to the wife and kid. Tony strangling a man, then taking his daughter college hunting. There is some limbic moral instinct disconnected in their brains. It's not just Tony that needs therapy, they all do. And that's why Many Saints is a disappointment, because we all subliminally felt that a simple revenge motif wasn't enough of an origin for a character as morally bankrupt as we know Tony to be. We found ourselves subconsciously searching for that tripwire moment when this baby-cheeked kid crossed the line from childish misdeeds to brain-disconnected sociopath. And that moment never comes. This movie never had the
makings of a varsity athlete.
Oh, son of a bitch! This is the scene from The Sopranos that frames Many Saints.
That's the guy, Adriana. My Uncle Tony. The guy I'm going to hell for.
Many Saints opens with Christopher narrating from beyond the grave. It tries to establish the similarities in the avuncular relationships between Dickie and Tony and Christopher. But a ghost narrating? It's simultaneously kooky and a solid storytelling hook, the impact of which is revealed only in the film's slam dunk ending in, wait for it, the top 5 things about the Many Saints of Newark.
5.
Characters. If you know The Sopranos, it's interesting and amusing to see all those characters represented as younger, all playing their parts well. Vera Farmiga as Tony's toxic mother, Olivia, Corey Stoll as Uncle June, and John Magaro as Silvio Dante. Magnificent! He's got that walk down and the tilt of the head. And there's young Paulie and Pussy and Carmela and Janice. And I was hoping to see Joseph Saravo as Johnny Boy Soprano, Tony's dad from the series. Sadly, I learned that he died in April 2021. So John Bernthal is Tony's dad here. Even Tippy makes an appearance.
This was my dog. His name was Tippy.
Again, if we did not know the deep background of these people from another series, would their characterizations here have any effect at all? I saw a review where someone complained that Silvio turns into caricature here, not realizing that Silvio Dante himself, played by Steven Van Zandt in the series, was a caricature, basing his persona on movie mobsters.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Real-life ex-mobster Michael Franzese remarks that after The Godfather was released in 1972, actual mob guys started styling themselves on the suaveness and stoicism of the men of respect they perceived on screen. And it's great to see Dickie Moltisanti at last, after hearing about him so much. But even though I love Alessandro Nivola, where's this guy?
4.
The moment of clarity. There may be no tripwire from normal to psycho, but there is at least one moment we hear Anthony's cry for help, when he relates to his guidance counselor how his fondest memory is that of his mother reading to him and him snuggling up to her, and how it never happened again. It's a moment that spurs our whole recollection of season 1, and Nancy Marchand's Olivia incessantly browbeating Tony, and us thinking now that in the back of his mind somewhere there was that regret that his mother had turned into this harridan instead of the nurturing mother he found for one nostalgic moment. It's a moment that illustrates there once was a crossroads in Tony's journey. That crossroads is the tripwire we wanted more of.
Oh, poor you.
3.
Woke up this morning. The Sopranos theme song slides in like a rattlesnake under the closing credits. We didn't even realize it was missing from this Soprano verse, but now we embrace it like a thirsty lover. It's the original Alabama 3 recording, not some cover by a chick trying to sound sultry. And that iconic opening and closing statement, woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Written by Jake Black and Rob Spragg from the 1997 album Exile on Cold Harbor Lane. It's originally about an abused woman who has had enough, not a mobster. But even its writers are happy that it's taken on a life of its own past the original meaning. Woke Up This Morning is cited in the book Music Publishing, The Roadmap to Royalties, as the paradigm for a great theme song that generates anticipation, immediately puts the viewer in a focused frame of mind, and creates the kind of sonic familiarity that breeds audience loyalty. As the movie winds out, it manages to reel us back into that Jersey state of mind, just when we thought we were out.
They pull me back in.
2.
Son of Soprano. James Gandolfini's 22-year-old son, Michael Gandolfini, plays the teenage Tony Soprano. It's wonderful and tragic and intriguing and sorrowful and hopeful all at once. If James had not died from a heart attack in 2013, we would not even have this movie. We would have had a bona fide Sopranos movie. But now, that will never be. As David Chase has said rightfully, without Jim Gandolfini, there is no Sopranos. There is no Tony Soprano. And that's just heartbreaking. There is no Tony Soprano on this earth anymore. Except, maybe. Born in 1999 when The Sopranos debuted, Michael had never even seen the full series when he got the job as young Tony. And yet, he didn't need to see Tony to play Tony. He is Tony. It's in his genes, in his every movement, his body language, his eyes, his cheeks, his sideways look. In his every fiber, we see James on screen. And we weep. Because Michael embodies the last remnants of that great actor and icon. And is it crazy to think that venal Hollywood would hold on to this young man contractually until he fills out a bearish frame, and then, with the most talented writers, directors, and makeup artists, go on to make more of the greatest show on earth?
You're born to this shit. You are what you are.
1.
The pinky swear. The last moment of the film is the best moment of the film. Earlier, young Tony balked at Uncle Dickie offering him a pinky swear like he was too mature for that baby shit. But now, that callback, an imagined pinky swear with dead Uncle Dickie, is weighted with portent and legacy and irony. That original pinky swear was Tony's promise to avoid crime, but now it is his entry into it. To add to the power of this moment, Woke Up This Morning slides in. Then, the final slam to our senses as Christopher Moltisanti narrates a final callback.
That's the guy, my Uncle Tony. The guy I went to hell for.
There it is, movie maniacs. The Many Saints of Newark, Top 5, the characters, the moment of clarity, Woke Up This Morning, Son of Soprano, The Pinky Swear. Bottom 5, Not a Series, The Black Apology, Ray Liotta, No Disorder. You know, I could be wrong.
But you know I'm right.
Hey, nice media device you got here. It'd be a shame if something would have happened to it. You know, I can keep it safe if you hit that subscribe button and make a donation. Or if you want to be a made guy, become a Patreon. Then the feds can't touch you. Irregardless, you like this, you keep your mouth shut. You share this, this is you.